How's it going, guys? Today I think we're gonna go over how to go up a hill from a stop. Now this is an important skill to have, because if you ever stop at a red light and you're on a hill, well, if you don't know how to do this, then you're not going to be able to get the bike to get up that hill and get where you want to go. I think this will be a good topic to cover for a lot of the new riders out there. The only thing is that first we have to find a hill to go up that will be steep enough for this example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find one of those hills, and then I'll catch you guys there. Alright guys, so I found a hill. It's right over there, but before we get into that, there's something I want to cover. Now, in my beginner's guide, I said a lot about just letting the bike go by slowly releasing the clutch. Now, in order to do this properly, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to add some use of the throttle to it. So it's kind of like a little dance that you've got to do in order to get the bike going from a stop while on a hill. So I just want to go over that real quick before we get into starting on a hill. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is, if you're not already comfortable with it, you're going to want to get used to just letting the bike roll, and maybe before even going on the street, just kind of getting used to how the bike feels while it's rolling, and using this clutch to really get it going. But once you have that down, then you can move on to this step, which will be doing exactly that, letting the clutch out. But just before you get to that friction zone, what you're going to want to do is just apply just a very little amount of throttle, and then as it starts to move, slowly increase the amount of throttle that you're giving it. So it's not too hard, but it will take some practice at first while you're getting used to it. So I do recommend practicing starting like that in a parking lot. Now, I don't really have much space here, so it's a fairly small parking lot, but it was empty. So yeah, so that's going to be your first step, is to just practice doing that. So you'll want to just release the throttle until it hits that friction zone, and then pull it back just a little bit. Give it a little bit of throttle, just a little, and then let it go into that friction zone. And then once it starts moving, you can apply just a little bit more, and that'll get your bike to go. So one last time, before we get over to that hill, what we're going to want to do is just kind of prep it with a little bit of throttle, let it into that friction zone, and as the bike starts moving, just gradually give it a little bit more throttle. And it's that simple. So now let's go over here to the hill. Okay, we'll start on this little, no, we'll go up to the hill up here. It's no big deal. There's nobody around. We'll start on the little part down here. Alright, so we'll slow down. So you can see we're on the hill. The bike wants to roll back, right? So in order to stop that, because let's say that we've got traffic behind us, if we want to stop that traffic, what we're going to want to do is cover this rear brake with our foot instead of the front brake. Now what that's going to allow us to do is it's going to free up this throttle for us. So we're not battling the front brake with the throttle and trying to figure out that whole mess. So you're going to want to cover the rear brake with your right foot, because that's the side that your rear brake is on, while holding in your clutch. Now, if we were to just let the clutch out, that's what happens. So because we're holding that rear brake and holding the bike in place, what will happen is your bike will shut off because you're stopping you're stopping it from going, so it'll just shut off on you. Now, because it's in gear, I'm going to need to pull the clutch in, push down the ignition, and the bike will come back on. So if you ever stall your bike, just make sure you pull in the clutch, hold that rear brake, and you'll be fine. I mean, a car might beep at you behind you if there is one, but honestly, who cares, you know? So now that we know what happens if we just hold the rear brake, what we're going to do is we're going to add what we just went over in the parking lot over there to getting over this hill. So we're going to go up until the friction zone. You can release the rear brake a little bit as you're letting the clutch out. Just know that your bike is probably going to roll back. If it's a steep enough hill, what you can do is you can actually go into that friction zone, and you can kind of just find out where the bike wants to move, and you can use that little bit of push that the bike gives you once you enter the friction zone to kind of hold you in place. But for some hills, it's going to be not going to be enough. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do exactly what we just went over. You're going to slowly let out the clutch while applying a little bit of throttle, and then you'll release that rear brake, and there you go. Okay, so super simple. And now what we'll do is, to keep practicing, we'll just hold this front brake and kind of slowly walk the bike back down. Alright, so we're just going to go back to the start. And just redo it. If you can, try to find a spot that doesn't have a lot of traffic. Typically the spot doesn't, but for some reason, right now it does. So we'll go over this one more time. Foot on rear brake, clutch is in. Light just turned green. We're going to slowly let out the clutch, apply a little bit of throttle, release that rear brake slowly as you're giving it throttle, and there you go. Alright, easy as that. Alright guys, so if you guys have any questions, put them down in the comments section. But that about wraps it up. Oh my god. That about wraps this one up though, guys. So if you have any questions, leave it down in the comments. I'll answer it as best as I can. If you like the video, leave a like. And if you want to continue to see content like this and learn how to ride a motorcycle, drop a subscribe. You know, I try to upload videos pretty frequently, and I really want to build a community of people who ride. So until next time, keep it upright, stay safe, and I'll catch you later.